I failed influencing and I'm going to have to look for a second job now.
Over 10 million followers across all platforms, was borrowing money from his parents to pay rent.
Influencers are broke. Or maybe it's just me, so I'm getting a job.
I made 6 figures last year as a content creator, and this year, it's been crickets.
The influencer bubble is bursting, and I'm not saying it because it's so trendy to make fun of entitled influencers. I'm saying it because more and more of them are now coming forward, openly talking about the finances, or should I say lack of finances. And as someone who has been working in this industry for basically my whole life now, I've met so many influencers who are either completely broke or they pretend to be rich while they're drowning in debt in the background. So naturally, I've been asking myself, how do we end up in this timeline where influencers are even struggling to pay their rent? So I went on a mission to find out, did hours of research, talk to my friends and colleagues in the industry, and in the end, I've identified 4 key factors that I want to break down in this video. This is the broke influencer epidemic. To understand why so many influencers are going broke, let's first look at how they make money in the first place. And it all started with a simple shift in attention. You see, back in the day, brands would spend their marketing budgets on TV commercials, magazine ads, newspapers, and so on. Basically, wherever the public was looking. But over time, people stopped paying so much attention to those traditional channels. They started spending more and more time online. Because in the 2010s, the smartphone exploded in popularity. And with that also came all these social media platforms. We're talking Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and so on. And naturally, brands followed that attention. At first, they bought ads like banners and pre-roll videos on those social media platforms. But soon, the brands realized that there was something even more powerful than the traditional ads on social media. The users that people were already following, the influencers. So how do influencers actually get paid? The majority make their money through brand deals. Brands pay influencers to mention, use, or promote a product in their content. That could be an Instagram post, it could also be a YouTube video integration. And in exchange, the influencers get a flat fee. On top of that, many influencers also make their money through affiliate revenue, where they share a special code or link and make a commission on every sale that goes through it. And in the golden years of 2014 to 2019, this system was booming. Influencers could charge thousands of dollars per post. Some were even making 6 figures per brand deal or brand campaign. But as you're about to see, things did not stay that way for long. As influencer marketing exploded, so did the pressure to look successful. So naturally, many people started cutting corners. A lot of people don't realize this, but back then, brands would throw cash at pretty much anyone with a large following. It didn't matter if the audience was real, it didn't matter if the engagement was low. If you had like 100,000 followers, you could land brand deals. And because of that, the market got flooded with influencers purchasing fake followers, buying bots, getting into engagement pods just to inflate their numbers and look successful. Because in the end, it was all about perception. And on top of that, social media companies started tweaking their algorithms, affecting the reach of those influencers. And maybe you've heard the story of this influencer with 2 million followers who failed to sell 36 t-shirts. And I see that as kind of a canon event. That was back in 2019. So this was the moment where a lot of brands essentially realized that followers do not equal customers. And as that realization hit the industry, many brands started to become more cautious. They were cautiously investing their money into influencer marketing. They were looking at engagement rates. They were making sure that influencers have a decent amount of loyal audience members. So meanwhile, the traditional influencer, the one who flex their mansions, their lifestyles, they started to struggle. Just to give you an idea, I remember I spoke to this influencer a couple of years back. Her rent was a high 4-figure amount because she wanted to make sure that her content looks good and her content looks polished. So naturally, whenever she didn't have a brand deal lined up, she wouldn't make any money and thus go into credit card debt. This is what I like to call the fake rich mentality. Influencers are pressured to maintain a glamorous image, which in turn can lead them to overspend and accumulate debt. And this is especially dangerous when the income isn't as stable due to social media algorithms, or huge shifts in the creator economy, which actually brings us to the year 2020. Apart from the pandemic running rampant, a new social media platform explodes, TikTok, and so does the attention towards short-form content. According to multiple surveys, more than half of young people want to become influencers. And with TikTok, that dream felt more attainable than ever. There was no need to flex anymore. There was no need to showcase luxury apartments or luxury mansions. All you needed was your phone. So anyone could go viral, anyone could get followers, and more importantly, anyone could turn into an influencer, sometimes even without meaning to. And while short-form content exploded in popularity, it also changed the way audiences behave. TikTok especially has trained our monkey brains to consume hundreds of creators a day. And with that comes one big consequence: nobody's special. So attention became more fragmented than ever. You might see someone's face 3 times a week, but you just laugh, scroll, and you don't even remember their name. So suddenly, audiences were not really interested in the influencers themselves. They were more interested in the bits, the trends. And staying on top of trends gets exhausting, to the point where especially fashion influencers began feeling the pressure to buy more, spend more, haul more, in order to keep up with other creators and to stand out. The link to this article is going to be in the video description. It's a very interesting read. And this is what I call the short form trap. Short form virality isn't sustainable because you always need to be on top of everything. Otherwise, people will move on. It's basically like a treadmill that leads straight to influencer burnout. And the audiences, well, they started to burn out too. Over the past 2 years, we've seen a new movement emerge called Deinfluencing. People calling out overconsumption, fake recommendations, and sponsored content. And remember how most influencers make their money? Well, through sponsored content. De-influencing became popular especially among Gen Z, who are facing a cost of living crisis. So being recommended the $70 face cream just doesn't sit right anymore. So influencer content stopped feeling aspirational. It started to feel out of touch, to the point where a lot of these influencers started to lose their brand deals and were essentially forced to go back to their 9-to-5s. So in a way, influencer culture became a meme and people started mocking influencers all over the world. And to be completely honest with you, it's a little bit unfair to blame the influencers for getting a little bit ahead of themselves. It's important to understand that we're dealing with the entertainment industry here, and the concept of an influencer is relatively new. Compare that to, I don't know, professional sports, for example. The average career of an NFL player is like 3.3 years, but they have a huge support network around them. Financial advisors, investment advisors, people that teach them how to handle sudden wealth. There are programs specifically to help young athletes handle their money and make wise financial decisions. And influencers don't really have that. Most of them blow up overnight, maybe off one video or one trend. So they end up making a lot of money in a short amount of time because they manage to capture attention from brands, from audiences, and so on. So then, as time passes, they start to fall off. So it's no surprise that so many influencers suddenly go broke, go in debt, or something even worse. This broke influencer epidemic is the result of a system that was built for attention, short-term virality, rather than long-term success. So what's the future like? Well, I believe that we're going through some sort of reset or correction phase. All of these influencers who are flexing their lifestyles, they're going to vanish. And instead, we're already seeing the rise of a new influencer. The ones building real systems, the ones who are turning attention into income in a sustainable manner, and the ones who know how to handle finances, how to invest wisely and not blow their money on luxury cars and luxury mansions. Well, I'm personally excited for the future, but it's also very difficult to predict what's going to happen in the creator economy in the coming months or years. Maybe a new concept is going to emerge and it's going to shake things up. So there you have it. The broke influencer epidemic is fueled by many factors, including social media algorithms, brand behavior, audience behavior, and a lack of financial literacy. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a comment below with your take on influencers and them going broke. And if you're into the creator economy, make sure to subscribe because I'm going to break down more concepts in upcoming videos. Cheers!